Hello, all. Welcome back to What's On Tonight, a podcast with elaborate, quirky, and unpredictable conversations about TV, movies, and waiting tables. I'm Becky.
And I'm Mandy.
Joining us in the pod layer today via Zoom is the beautiful Mara Klein, who played Debbie Cohen on The Pitt. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here with us. This is exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Debbie, the first question we've got, we always ask our guests first, how did you get into acting? And then as we wrap that up, specifically, how did you get cast in The Pitt?
Sure. I was the kid who wanted to act from the moment I could speak.
Me too.
So, yeah, every home video of me is me putting on shows or casting my parents and my stuffed animals and my sister.
I saw one of those videos that you posted of when you were 9 on your Instagram.
Yeah.
It was very cute.
I know my sister sent me that during pandemic, and now I have it. Yeah, so for me, getting into acting was always something I wanted to do. But obviously, I was born in Los Angeles, but then I grew up right outside of DC in Maryland. So we moved away from LA. Then it was just school and being a kid. And I did a lot of school plays or community theater, and I would go to summer camps for acting growing up. And then I went to college in New York at NYU. And that's kind of when I came back to it definitely more seriously. I studied at NYU Tisch for drama. And then right after school, that's when I was like, okay, we moved to LA and now we actually pursue it as a career and a job. So it took me a long time. It's been a whole lifelong pursuit, for real.
I saw in one of your interviews that you talked about your dad as a lawyer and then he had tried screenwriting. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? How did that go? Did he ever get anything on film?
Yeah, that's the reason I was born out here. I'm back in Los Angeles now, is because that was during that time. He got rep. He sold a pilot that never got made. He ended up writing, I think, an episode of Cheers, Coach,
Ooh.
and Darkwing Duck.
Wow. 3 amazing shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. But never was steadily employed. That's,
Right.
being a creative. And ended up in a writer's strike with 2 children to support. And then they moved back to DC, which is where my parents met and raised us. And he went back to being a lawyer.
Was your mom ever in the entertainment industry at all, or?
No, she wasn't in the industry, but my mom, when I was growing up in Maryland, she would do community theater.
Okay.
And so I would go and see her in plays. And then when I was 12, we ended up doing a play together.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was a one act. I played a kid with cancer. So I'm always playing a patient. I don't know what happens.
I don't know, but as a fellow incredibly dramatic child, I always thought I was going to do theater. And then, your dad discovered, I realized you cannot have a young family before you're established and really have them thrive and give everything you need to give to the business. But yeah, that cracks me up that I'm sure you were just loving having all of that to chew into, to be a cancer patient as a kid in a role at that age.
Yeah, it was me. It was a one act, but it was just 3 actors, me, my mom, and this guy who was directing it. And I was the kid with cancer next door making friends with this older man. And she was playing his daughter. And she did not like our relationship. So it was very funny. I got to have one contentious scene with my mom.
That's every child's dream,
right?
To do that and get away with it.
I also remember I gave her acting notes. Because I was like, Mom, if you say this line, you said it this way once on opening night and you got to laugh. And if you say it that way again, you're going to get more laughs. But she didn't understand my acting notes. And she just got angry that me, 12-year-old child, was giving her acting notes.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That
As a mom, I can see that. But you'd already had classes and things like that by now.
Yeah.
That's funny. I bet you were a lot like me and my daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so how did you ended up getting cast with The Pitt?
So I've been here in LA for a while, pursuing acting, auditioning, having little roles on TV, independent films. I do a lot of theater as well here. And then The Pitt, this was actually my 5th audition for the show. I had auditioned for 3 different roles in season 1.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they got picked up for season 2. And I had watched the show at this point and loved it. And they called me in for one other role in episode 1, which, I auditioned for probably a month prior, didn't hear anything back. And then this audition came across my computer, because that's how we get everything these days. And then I sent off this tape, and 2 days or so later, they're like, "You're on avail," which is how it works in our industry. And then, by the next week, it's like, "Okay, you're the choice. Okay, now you're approved. Okay, now you're booked."
That's exciting.
What roles did you audition for besides the one you got?
So in season 2, I auditioned for, do you remember? It's like the girlfriend of the dad, and the girl comes in with a bunch of bruises in episode 1.
Yes.
So I auditioned for the girlfriend role for this season. And then in season 1, do you remember the lady who was like maybe human trafficking?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She was pregnant.
Yes. That was not written for an actor who was pregnant. It was just written. I loved their choice of choosing someone who was pregnant.
Yeah.
See, insider information. We love talking to you guys. You teach us so much. We had no idea that was not written that way.
I mean, it was just written for a woman who is maybe human trafficking someone, but we don't even know if she is or not. It's kind of like, you're going to make that choice of like, what is this relationship? And I loved the woman they cast for that role. I was like, she nailed it with the accent, with, also the fact that she's pregnant.
The pregnancy added just a certain little soupçon of something there. Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, I think you are perfect. The role you ended up. You nailed it.
Debbie.
We love Debbie too.
Yeah. It's funny because having auditioned so many times, and as an actor, when a specific casting office or a specific show calls you in that many times, you're like, I know I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I know they're like looking for, it's the only way we get feedback these days. So it is that feedback of like, okay, they're just looking for a role for me. Okay, they like my work. Okay, I'm doing something right. So all those auditions are heartening. And yeah, when I take for Debbie, at this point, I'm like, I know the tone of the show. I know what I'm doing. And I loved where her storyline went.
Same. Well, that actually leads into our next question. Is something else you want to add, Mandy?
No, I was just going to say that one of the reasons that we joked about it being a Waiting Tables podcast, and one of the things that we really wanted to ask you, but I actually found the answer as I was kind of researching you, is had you had any Waiting Tables experience? Because Becky and I have been friends for almost 30 years because we waited tables for the same restaurant company and then worked in that home office. And so we still have PTSD for a lot of the stuff. And we loved your storyline because I knew before it was even revealed that you were a waitress in that role. When Robbie got on and yelled at that guy, it was like chef's kiss. It was just such wish fulfillment. Like, I firmly believe, and actually had a friend who was forced to go in and work while she had necrotic fasciitis. Yes.
No way.
Yes. She didn't lose her leg, but she still to this day has a huge dent where half of her leg, well, not half of it, but a big portion of her leg got chewed out.
Oh my God. You should see my face
you waited
right now.
tables though, right? So you understand that's kind of par for the course.
You could be dying and they're like, we still need you to either get somebody to cover your shift or come in. But Mandy and I often compare the Pitt to our time with waiting tables. We recognize that what these people do is like so far above waiting tables, but so much of the drama and the
stress,
the machines going down and they have to go analog, it just immediately made me think of like when the credit card machines would go down and you'd have to write everything via chits or actually hand swipe a credit card to be able to get the imprint. So we were so excited to be able to actually have a reason to talk about waiting tables rather than just bringing it up
randomly for no reason.
No, I have many, many years experience doing that. From before I even moved out to LA, I was both a host in high school. I was a host at a restaurant because I was like, I want some cash for myself in high school. And then I also was a server all through college. And then when I came out to LA, that was like my first side job as an actor, was just waiting tables at many different restaurants. That I did not have to act. That I can just pull from experience.
He never leaves you.
No, also those server nightmares never leave you.
No,
I still have them where it's like we're on roller skates and we have to deliver food, or I forgot this person's water order all the time.
Yeah, they just keep popping up. Mandy had one she brought up a few episodes ago where she had a very bad dream about the stress of waiting tables.
I haven't probably waited on anybody in, I don't know, 18 years, I think. And I still, every once in a while, especially when life gets stressful, I'll have that the POS machines went down, or I just got sat with a party of 20. And yeah.
Oh, I get
It's
it.
haunting.
I think you can appreciate how similar the stress is there.
Yeah, do not have to make any of that up. I mean, I can understand the circumstances of like you call out of your job, you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
You have to show up to get paid. And that like, well, why are you calling out? I'll fire you. You're replaceable. I'll find someone else.
Yeah, it was a lot of wish fulfillment to have somebody that could have stepped in and been like, we will back her up and sue you. So I think we both stood up and were like, yeah.
Yeah.
And that scene aired.
Well, your character arc quickly became one of the most intense of the season thus far. So what was it like, or what was the most, I guess, physically or even emotionally demanding scene for you to have to film in that role?
It's so funny because I had such a lovely time on set. I was like, I just lived the best 2 weeks of my life is like how I put it to friends at the time. And it is so interesting to see how all of that translates to camera when you're watching it, because they did such a good job of like amping up that tension. I was loving doing this, even as horrible as it turns out. I mean, I think the scene that it was like the last scene where Debbie's like awake before they intubate her. That was a really interesting one to film because, you know, we're filming it and I'm doing what I think the lines call for. And then I think we turn onto my coverage, and I don't know if anyone else has talked to you about Dr. Lizzie, one of the doctors on the show, one of the advisors.
Yeah.
So we turn onto my coverage and she comes to me and she's like, "You're too awake." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she explains what's actually shutting down in my body at that moment of just like, you're running a fever, like it feels like you have a flu, you know, how you're so super weak at those times. And it's like all of these medical, you know, the parts of my body that are shutting down, how it's harder to grasp air and all of this, let alone just my leg hurting, which is kind of what we were playing prior. So she comes and she explains all of this medically and is like, "You are too awake." And so then on this next take, I'm like, okay, how do I take all of this medical jargon and now translate that into something actable of just like, okay, if you're struggling to breathe, okay, when it feels like your head is just really heavy and you're struggling to kind of like open your eyes because you just want them to close. And so that became, I know how the take they ended up using in that scene, or one of those, maybe I did that for a few. But it was just very interesting to like see how fast a body can deteriorate like that. Because I'm like, wait, but all of this is happening within an hour? You know, episode 5, it's just 1 hour that she goes downhill that fast. And I would ask, you know, both Lizzie and both the nurses in my room, Tim and Ned who plays Jesse, are they're actual ER nurses. So I would ask them stuff all about the medical of it all the time because they knew. And they'd be like, "No, yeah, I treated someone with necrotizing fasciitis once, or I treated someone that this happened to who went into sepsis." And they would be like, "No, I was like, this is fast. This is just for TV." And they're like, "No, it can really be this bad."
Wow.
Yeah. That was like a lesson for me in filming as well of just, so I guess that was the most challenging, but I think we got there. And
definitely
certainly helped. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember. Did they ever reveal how you got it?
No, they didn't tell me. I don't know how I got it. It just, the thing I remember them telling me on set was just like, it can happen with like a mosquito bite, a cut.
That was my friend. She had a spider bite, actually.
Yeah, any sort of like open wound. And so like, that's why, because I remember when we were filming episode 1, it was just like that little thing. One of the nurses was just like, "This is why you put Band-Aids on your cuts, so stuff can't get into them." I was like, "Oh, okay, good to know."
Yeah, I'll take that with me. But yeah, I don't know if I was joking. Like my thing that I hated the most was cutting lemons. Not the most.
That
but
was
one of
the
the
I was
stuff
going to
words I
say.
hate most,
Marrying
yes.
ketchup, whoever invented plastic ketchup bottles that aren't see-through, God
And she
bless
lives in
you.
California. I'm betting she didn't have to marry ketchup bottles. It
No,
was
I had
just
to marry ketchup.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But we
Yeah.
had to do it with the glass bottles.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we did. But now they have those ones you can't see through, the plastic ones, the
Oh, so
squeeze
those are
ones.
better.
Yeah, well, because then they don't have to do it because it doesn't look
You don't
bad.
have to do it. Yeah.
So when they did do that scene though, where Robbie grabbed the phone, how did you keep it together? Like, did you have a hard time not cracking up when you were filming that?
Did you know that he was going to do that? Did they walk you through that ahead of time?
That is scripted.
Okay.
Every little bit of that is scripted. Here's the thing. I did not know the response to that scene that ended up happening once it came out.
Because I think a lot of us have been there.
People have asked me, like, did you know, like, that was going to be the scene? I was like, absolutely not. I could not have predicted this at all.
Yeah.
So, when people ask me that, I was like, no, I was just focused on, like, not messing up my phone
Right.
Because that's, like, all my lines and all lines I have to cue myself of being like, what is this other person on the phone saying?
Yeah.
So that's where my brain was at. It was just like doing the phone call, being in the phone call. He would come and grab the phone. And then I think I was just like, what would a natural reaction be of someone like taking the phone and then also saving you and saying those words and making you feel seen and appreciated?
Yeah.
So I think that's all I was focusing on on the day. But I do remember our director, Damien Marcano. So that episode, like the way they film, you never know what's going to end up in the shot in the edit. Right. But I know after he grabs the phone, he made sure to get coverage of all of us in the room. Like he made sure to get Patrick and Seppi's reaction to that. And then also my reaction to that. And a couple of days later, he comes in and he was just like, guys, I was reviewing dailies. And he was like, I got all three. He was like, I got daddy, and I got daddy. All three of us.
Well, that's why I was asking if you knew ahead of time, because your reaction, that's some great acting. Because I thought, I was like, I felt like it was like the first take and you didn't know he was going to do that, the way you reacted so perfectly. So to hear that you knew and pulled that together so well, that's amazing. Well done.
That's acting. No, I knew. It was definitely not the first take either. But yeah, that's, it is, that's film. It's always a challenge to be like, how is it new every take?
And also kudos to you, because there have been times my job before the one I have now, I did some food shows, and sometimes you just wanted to get out of all the crazy. So I would fake phone calls that somebody was calling me to be like, oh, I got to step away for just a minute. And it is not easy carrying on a one-sided conversation. So kudos to you for making us think your asshole boss was really on the phone and that somebody on the other end really did get an earful from Dr. Robbie.
Yeah. I did a play where my character had to do a ton of phone calls. And I feel like I was like, ooh, in this moment, as I was filming this scene, I was remembering this. I was like, ooh, I feel like I got that preparation. Like, how like certain things in life prepare you for later moments.
Yeah, you were ready.
And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I did that play and had all this experience on a phone.
That's funny.
Before, yeah.
You never know. You never know what you're going to need to pull from the tool bag.
Mm-hmm.
That's really true. Well, you got to film alongside the brilliant Noah Wyle. You got to work with Patrick Ball, Ned Brower. The whole cast is amazing. So did you learn anything? Did you get any coaching from Noah? Or what was it like working on the set and with such a veteran actor?
I got no coaching from Noah, because I feel like other actors giving actors notes on set is such a no-no. And he's the consummate professional, so he would not do that. I know he directed the next episode. Then he can give notes. So no, but I mean, I will say, like, everyone on that set is just so game to play. They're game to be there and so present. And so that's kind of what I got from all of those guys is, my first few scenes were with Patrick, and he was just like so happy to meet me, to be working with me. And just, we started geeking out on theater because we both have a theater background pretty much immediately, which gave us a comfort around each other and then an ability to play and just have real reactions. And then I will say, meeting Noah, he was so present in the room and also so curious as both a person and an actor. And that, especially when you're coming into a set and, he's the number one, it immediately puts you at ease. Because you never know what they're going through or everything on their plate or all the scenes they have to film that day. And he was just, when he was in the room with me, which was a lot of time for that episode, because we also have to be background during the other scenes around us.
Mm-hmm.
He was just there. He was asking questions about who I am and what life is. And so I think that's what I learned, is what I learned was how should you act on set when it's your set, so that everyone else feels comfortable and like they're a part of it too. And he like leads by example.
That is amazing.
We've heard that from almost everyone, that it's one of the more egalitarian sets that most people have ever been on, that you don't get this feeling that you're being looked down upon by the higher ups and that you're being heard and listened to. I don't know the protocol at that level, but we have had a couple of our guests who have told us that like Noah gave them hints and tips and like notes on things. And like we interviewed the guy that played Louis Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Ernest Harden Jr.
Ernest, I know Ernest.
Yeah, and we were kind of surprised to find that like that storyline was kind of Noah's baby, that he kind of like coached him through basically what the motivation was for that role.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. One of the things that we learned when we were doing a deep dive and kind of stalking you on social media is that we see that you've spent time on the theater stage and on the screen, and you've been a producer and a director. This is kind of a multi-part question. I want to know, one of those roles do you find the most challenging? But I also want to know, like, specifically, what are some of your favorite roles from theater? Like, I saw your show that is on, I think, Amazon, that's To the New Girl. And just a little clip that I saw on your page makes me, if that's on Amazon, I want to go watch it.
Yeah, so that was like a nice marriage of film and theater, because we filmed it in a theater, and it's just a bunch of monologues of women. As if it's like a stand-up show. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
Yeah, that's an indie film. So yeah, I just have like my monologue, but it is nice because it is a movie, but it's also stage.
Yeah.
What do I find most challenging? I think probably directing. I haven't done much directing. I like co-directed a couple of short films in my time, and then I've wanted to probably branch out into theater directing, but I haven't yet taken the jump. And that's probably because I think it's most challenging because you're in charge of everything. And it also comes down on you.
Which one do you find the most rewarding? Like, what do you enjoy? Which one are some of your favorite roles on stage? Because I always wanted to get into theater. I enjoyed theater. I never had a desire to be on screen. And I actually found out pretty recently I don't like having a camera right in my face. But I love the playing of it all. I saw you recently did a version of Frankenstein that I think is the same version that they're doing at the National Theatre in London right now. So what role did you play?
I understudied that one. I understudied Elizabeth.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what do I find most rewarding is absolutely acting.
Still, yeah, okay.
Still, I love acting. And then I think I produce as a means to act more.
Right.
Okay.
Also, just those are skills that come naturally to me. I'm very organized.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
They help you to stay in that world of acting, that's where your primary thrust still is that's what being the creative process of like playing the role is what jazz.
Yeah, playing the role. I mean, I love theater. I don't think I will ever be an actor who is not also doing theater.
Mm-hmm.
I love film and television too, but I mean, my favorite actors are the ones who are like, oh, they're on their television show or their movies, and then they go do a Broadway play, and then they go back to their television show and their movies. I mean, like, that's what Patrick's doing right now.
Yeah, and Issa?
Yeah, Issa was on Broadway before the Pitt, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked to some of the cast members, and a lot of them say the same thing, that have a theater background, that working on the Pitt feels very theater-esque, because it is like it is a scripted, choreographed dance, and that their theater background helped them to adjust to how the show is filmed, plays out, and all that good stuff. Did you find that helpful?
Yes. I mean, I have a couple of friends from before I was on the show who are in the cast who I know from theater in Los Angeles. And I think because it is such a 360 world of, when you watch the show, there's the scene that's happening, but they're showing everything in the background through the whole hospital. And those scenes are not scripted. Those scenes are, the doctor or one of the nurse med techs will come in, and medical advisors, I think that's what they're called, will come in and be like, okay, so talking to the nurses, you're probably running these tests on her during this time because it all is happening in real time. Then, me and Ned and Tim, who are in my room, would just like improvise that scene in the background as they're filming whatever scene is in the foreground. Okay. So I think having that background just helps all of us to be able to be like, oh yeah, we can fill this world in and also think on our feet. And it is such a physical show in terms of the camera movement as well. So just like filling the frame and filling the space from front to back. And I think theater people are just like game to play and game to be there. Because, in most shows, you don't have to sit and be background while they're filming other scenes that don't take place in your area. So I think that's when actors go off to their trailers and hang out on set or get to go home. And so I think it also takes a different kind of personality to be like, I'm going to be there all day.
Yeah, but it keeps you in the moment. You're not having to stop, gather yourself, recenter, and get back into focus. You're always in character.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That was one of the best explanations we've gotten about the background. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, so are the background. Like the background actors on that show are so invested. If you watch when you're watching, they're there all the time. And a lot of them are there for the entire season because it's one day or one shift. I remember while I was on set, they were talking about the ones who had to be in the what would you call it? The psych rooms. Where there's like glass in front of them and they're like in solitary. And they were like, did you see what they came up with? Like these background actors are coming up with like full characters.
Well, I have to pay more attention to that.
You have to. Because I remember there's like one guy who's just like going down the glass like this. You can't see what I'm doing because it's a podcast.
Right. She looks like Spider-Man.
She's making kitty, like scratching kitty.
Yeah.
Gestures.
They are so committed. And also, this is probably the show I've been on where the background is also very well respected and like treated as part of the cast as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly, the one theme that every single guest that we've had on has been the unity of the cast and how respected they all felt. And how that then enhances your buy-in as someone hired to be part of that cast, that like no matter what, because we've had guests that are higher and lower on the call sheet, and every single one of them I think feels almost exactly the same level of valued as a cast member there, and that's got to be pretty remarkable.
It is, and I think that comes from, I'm going to give him a lot of credit, but it comes from Noah.
Yeah.
Him being the number one on the call sheet, him being the executive producer, a writer, a creator, everything, the way he leads, I think, and the fact that he invests in everyone.
That's cool.
Yeah. That type of leadership that is not like you are the servant of the people below you, not that they exist to serve you. And I think that is the only kind of leadership I personally am ever invested in. So I think it was very much part of their overwhelming success is having that. Because I think it gets the kind of buy-in that you were talking about with people, even just in the background. One of the first interviews that we did was with Justin Wade, who in the first season played the guy that had the brain worm. And it's one of my favorite answers to a question that we've ever gotten from anybody. We asked him, did you make any friends on the cast, or was there anybody that you were really, really impressed with? And his answer was Noah's stand-in, who doesn't have 1 second of screen time, but he was so invested that it was just fascinating for Justin to sit and watch his process as he was making absolutely sure that he was getting it just right.
Yeah.
And that really spoke a lot to me because I've worked in enough industries that you can be hired to do a fairly decent job, but to get the level of really great performances like you and so many of the 2 or 3 episode guest stars that they've had that end up being just massive fan favorites because they're given that much respect or that they're given that much investment in their character is just, I think that really is why it's blowing up the way it is.
Yeah. And I'm so happy for them for every award they win.
Yeah. Well, that's, and I guarantee you more will be coming for the
For
work
you,
that's being
yeah.
done in season 2, and you're going to be a big part of that. So tip your hat to yourself too.
Yeah. I feel very grateful to have gotten this role on this show, especially in this time.
We were so happy, let me rephrase that, because what happens to your leg is awful, but we were grateful to have gotten an update. That's one of our favorite things
Yes.
about the show. They do not mess around with attention to detail. And, you go off screen because you leave the ER, the ED, we may not see you again, but they're, always great to give us the fans
update.
updates on what's going on. So we were grateful to hear that you're okay, but we were very sorry to hear that
About your poor leg.
the necrofasciitis.
I know, and I think about Debbie and I'm like, oh my God, to have gone into the hospital with like, my foot hurts, and then leave without a leg. And
Right.
also, your whole life's going to be changed.
Yeah. At least you lived, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, before Becky moves into our last question here, I want to say maybe what Dr. Robbie did to your leg is the most disgusting thing that we've seen so far all season.
I thought it was fascinating.
It's pretty gross.
Mandy gets grossed out very easily.
I don't like pus.
So how much prosthetic work did you have to have for that to happen?
Actually, the first thing I did after I was hired was go to the prosthetic special effects studio and get my leg cast. So that was like about 2 months, maybe a little less than before we actually shot that scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went there. It was just for like a couple hours that day, and they like make a actual cast of my leg, and they weren't sure if they were like, we don't know if they're going to film it sitting or laying down, so we're going to do both. So we did one with my knee bent and one with my leg straight. And so that's all the prosthetic I had. And this time the prosthetic actually, like, it was just a full leg by itself. Didn't actually have to be attached to me in a way. Like,
so they just hid you, and that was just a completely fake leg.
They hid just for that last scene. The rest of the time it is my leg. And the rest of the time I'm getting makeup on my leg. I got more makeup on my leg than my face in this show. Yeah, just that last scene, my real leg is hidden under the gurney, and they have my actual left leg with the prosthetic right leg for that last scene. Maybe it's strapped around my waist, but it wasn't something where, like, normally when you have a prosthetic, you have to go in early and they like glue it on and do makeup over it. So I didn't have to do that. So that was the leg that was like attached. This is not my area of expertise, but like the hoses that like stuff out when he cut in.
Yuck.
And fun fact, they got that in one take.
Nice.
Good for everybody having to watch it.
No, but I mean, the special effects team on that show are unparalleled.
Yes, that is amazing.
Behind the scene videos of like the baby being born in season 1, and so what happened to you, and so much of it's wild to see the behind the scenes of how they make that work.
Yeah. Well, I learned so much too.
Yeah. It's like, but I want to give you credit, and then I'll move on into the last question. I know we're taking up a lot of your time, but when you come in, like you said, you've got a ouchie on your leg, and as the hour progresses, it's getting amped up and more amped up. You did a really good job of showing what your character was feeling inside with that progression. And it looked real, honest, and natural. So you fit right in with the rest of the cast on that show. You really did a good job. It's why we wanted to reach out to, get a chance to talk with you, because a lot of these, like Mandy said, 1 or 2 episode guest stars end up being our favorite storylines from the seasons, because you guys do so great in such a little amount of time, and I don't mean little as in it didn't take you, I'm not dimming how much time it took you to actually have to do that, but what we see on the TV screen is what I mean.
Screen time. Yeah.
Screen time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wows us. And so
I think the casting directors are amazing for this show. And I think that one of the magic formulas that they have found, great casting and giving this attention to detail to these. It's almost like you were talking about your play movie that I'm going to watch here when we get off. It's kind of the same thing. It's almost like these little mini scenes that you would see in theater.
Yeah, it's very, I mean, the casting directors also deserve every award that they're winning.
Mhm.
Kathy Sandrich, Erica Berger, and Seth Caskey. I mean, they put all of this together.
Yeah, I think they make a big difference.
I remember when I watched season 1, I felt like in watching, I've never watched a show where I just felt like these were all real people.
Yeah.
Like no one really felt like an actor. A lot of that has to do with it's one day and we're not like doing the typical doctor show. So we're not like amping up like romantic storylines or things like that.
And the artificial music.
Yeah. I think season 2, or also when I would audition or got to be on it, it was like, for me, it was like, how do I achieve that level of acting? And I think so much of that also goes to the casting directors for who they're choosing for each of these parts and the type of actors they're bringing in. And like I said, I know a lot of my friends who've been on the show and they're all theater people. I don't know if they're doing that purposely and that's like helping, but I also really give them credit. You see very few stars on the show, like recognizable faces from other things. Like maybe you're like, oh, I think I saw that person in something else, but it's not like someone you can immediately put a name to. And I also give them credit for that because I think that really helps also build out the real world.
I agree with you. It really does.
Yeah, that's part of what I think is their brilliance. And one of the things that I really love as somebody who did want to get into the business at some point and have so much respect for character, for what people call character actors. And I know there are some people that don't love that term. I love that term because I think that those are the people that I find the most interesting to watch. And I don't know that everybody that has been in these parts necessarily can be, labeled as a character actor yet, because some of you are quite young. And who knows where your careers are going to go. But I think that they have done such a great job of picking people who are, like so many of you guys that we've talked to, they're still doing things to what we've talked to people who are still teaching on the side. We've got several people that are doing that. We've got people that are still working in the medical industry in different ways. Yeah. And I love that this massive show is giving this opportunity to the amazing performers and giving them not just a role, but like really investing in that role. It's just beautiful writing. It's beautiful casting. And they are picking you guys that are just knocking it out of the park. I think you could have killed any of those roles that you tried out for, but the beauty is that they saw the one that was absolutely right for you.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, because it would have changed. It would have changed those other storylines if it was me versus who they saw. And I generally love the people they cast. So I was like, no, that was the right choice, not me.
Yeah.
But who knows, I know, like, for instance, with ER, Noah's last show that they did, or not his last show, but the last medical show, that there are a lot of people, some of which who have been on the Pitt, that played more than one role over the lifetime of that show. So
I don't think they're going to do that.
You don't think they will?
No.
I agree with you. I think if they did that, it would be
if
this show goes on 12 to 15 seasons like ER did. They're so hardcore on keeping it real, so to speak. Yeah. I don't see them doing that.
Yeah. Probably not.
It's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But we've no doubt we'll see you in a lot of other things for sure. So something we both found really cool when, like Mandy said, we were stalking you to learn more about your background, but you are the founder of a specialized service, Your Audition Friend. Can you tell us and our listeners more about that? And then I'm going to guess that probably takes up a good amount of time helping others with their careers. So how do you balance doing that and making sure your own career is taking center stage, so to speak?
Yeah, so basically the short answer is audition coaching. So I work with other actors because now almost everything is a tape that we do. So it's either prepping them, so working with them on the sides to go and film that with whoever they're going to read with, or it's being the person who films with them, reading opposite them, and kind of doing a work session at the same time. Or it's clients who book jobs from the tapes we make and then me working with them before they go to set, just like making sure their lines are down, their choices are made, and they're ready to like step on that set, totally ready to play opposite Noah Wiley without having to think about it, or whoever they're on with. So it's kind of all the above. I started it a long time ago in 2018. It's that thing of like, what is the thing people are always asking you to do? And then can you make that your job?
Can you monetize?
Yeah. So I was already helping a bunch of friends by doing this. I was already asking friends for these specific favors because at that time we were going in person to audition, and every few auditions were self tapes. So I was doing it with clients where they needed to run their scenes with someone before they went into the audition room. So I would go to their houses, we would like have a work session, whether it was just like, we're playing with these lines and we're not making any choices, or I just want to like know what I'm doing when I go into the room. And then, you know, here and there it would be like, oh, I have a tape, I'll go over to their house and we'll just make the tape together. And then, of course, pandemic hit and everything became a self-tape. And so then I was working with everyone on Zoom, which actually opened up my client base because instead of just being with people whose houses I could go to in Los Angeles, now I'm working with people in New York. I had a client in Italy. You know, I had people from all over I could work with. And then after pandemic, now it's pretty much hybrid. It's kind of like if you're a New York client, I'm obviously on Zoom with you. If it's someone in Los Angeles who is across town, sometimes I'm on Zoom with them, or some people just prefer Zoom because we got so used to it. I mean, I generally tape with my readers on Zoom. So like, I'm just like, it's easy. I don't need to make you come here. I know how to do this. Or there's clients whose houses I go to still, and like I'll come and I'll bring my tripod and sometimes a light, you know, depending on what their setup is, and we'll set up and we'll do a work session and a tape. And I think it is just, it's having someone who knows what they're doing, is going to give you a good read to act opposite from, but not detract, because there is a fine balance, and like help make the audition better. I don't think of myself as an acting teacher because I'm like, most of the people I work with know what they're doing. They all have this natural talent. So it's just working with their natural talent and just like little things that will make the tape better or stand out or more in the tone of the show.
Basically, just kind of like trying to offer the service that you would want if you were going for a role and needed that same service.
100%. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Doing it in a way where as actors, like we have to ask for these favors all the time. And so it is like, okay, I mean, there is a service where you can pay and someone will do those favors well for you and be there for you without having to be like, oh, so sorry, I had an audition come in. I'm going to not be free now.
Right.
So that's what it is. And I honestly get so much out of it. Like it feeds my acting. I learn from my clients. I love working with my clients. I love when they succeed and I can be like, I helped you get to this next step in your career. So it doesn't ever feel like it's a hard balancing act for me. I guess like time-wise would be the only thing if I'm busy and I'm not free to do the session. But then I always, I don't know, I have really bad boundaries with work. I'm like, yeah, I'll wake up early for you. Or yeah, we could tape at midnight. It's fine. I'm awake. So I try to make it work as much as I can.
That's very cool.
There's something hugely rewarding about something that you love. You can share it with someone and also feel like you made them better in some way or helped them to become better, a better version of themselves. Like that, there's no better feeling in the world. Like in the one hand, you've got the community because this is something that you both love and you are colleagues more than you are like a student or a teacher. But then you also get that feeling of you helped them to achieve something that they maybe wouldn't have been able to had you not been there. So I could see why that would be a very, very rewarding thing. And it was how clever of you to find something like that, a niche that needed to be filled and be able to monetize that. Good for you.
Yeah.
So lastly, is there anywhere that our listeners can find you? Or are there any causes or pages or new projects or anything else like that that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, well, yourauditionfriend.com is the business, and that's kind of my main website. So if you're an actor and you ever want help, yes, they can find me on Instagram at Mara R. Klein. And I am trying to be better about being a lot more active on there and posting more updates. So hopefully I will continue. Yeah, coming up, or I was just on last week's episode of 911.
Oh,
Like
which one?
another patient.
Oh, imagine that.
Imagine that with a different prosthetic.
Oh, I can't wait to watch.
So yeah, so I'm on 911. The episode is episode 12, season 9, episode 12. I have a guest arc.
Sweet. We'll be sure to post the links to your social media and to your website in our show notes so that listeners can find you. And man, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. It means the world to us. We aren't big names. So anytime anyone
Neither am
responds,
I.
yes, you are.
No, thank you for asking. This is fun. It's fun to geek out about the pit because I loved it so much and still do. So happy to.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here with us. And as you grow with your roles, if there's anything that you want us to share, you want to hop back on and talk about, you're our family now. So just reach out and let us know.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap up our interview with the amazing Mara Klein. Next up, we are going to be continuing our coverage of season 2 of The Pitt.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm Becky.
And I'm Mandy.
And I'm Mara.
We'll catch you next week when we grab the remote and see what's on tonight. Bye.
Bye.